God knows your heart. A sudden miracle is on the way. Let me start by reminding you of something powerful today. God knows your heart, not just your words, not just what people see on the outside, but the real you, the one who keeps going when no one applauds, the one who prays quietly, the one who believes even when it's hard. You may feel misunderstood. You may feel overlooked. You may feel like you've done everything right and still nothing has changed. But hear this clearly, God has never been confused about you. People may judge your actions, but God judges your heart. People may see your mistakes, but God sees your desire to grow. People may count you out, but God is counting you in. And here's the good news. You don't have to convince God of anything. He already knows. Some of you are discouraged because you've been waiting a long time. You prayed. You believed. You did your best to stay positive. And now you're wondering, did I miss my moment? No, you didn't miss it. You're not late, and God is not slow. What looks like a delay is often preparation. While you're waiting, God is working. While you're trusting, God is arranging. While you're being patient, God is positioning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing. And sometimes this is important. God doesn't bring change gradually. Sometimes he brings it suddenly. Suddenly the door opens. Suddenly the diagnosis changes. Suddenly the job comes through. Suddenly the relationship is restored. Suddenly the peace returns. You didn't see it coming, but God planned it all along. Your responsibility is not to figure out how it will happen. Your responsibility is to keep your heart right while you wait. Stay hopeful. Stay faithful. Don't let disappointment harden you. Don't let frustration steal your joy. When you choose trust over fear, gratitude over complaining, and faith over doubt, you are creating room for God to move. And let me tell you this with confidence today, your miracle may be closer than you think. It may not come the way you expect. It may not come on your timeline, but it will come at the right moment. So don't give up now. Don't lower your expectations. Don't stop believing just because it's been difficult. God knows your heart. He knows what you've been through. He knows what you need. And a sudden miracle is on the way. God knows the real you in a way no human ever could. People only see the surface, your actions, your reactions, the parts of your life that are visible, but God sees deeper. He sees your intentions when your actions are misunderstood. He sees your heart when your words come out wrong. He sees the motives behind your decisions, even when others are quick to judge you without knowing the full story. When someone looks at you and assumes the worst, God already knows the truth. There are moments when you do the right thing and still get criticized. Moments when you stay quiet, not because you are weak, but because you are trusting God to fight your battles. People may mistake your silence for indifference, but God knows it is strength. He knows the self-control it took to walk away, the patience it took to wait, and the faith it took to keep going when you felt like giving up. God also sees the tears no one else notices. The tears you cry late at night when the house is quiet. The tears you wipe away before anyone can ask questions. The tears that fall not because you don't believe, but because you do believe and you're tired of waiting. Every tear matters to God. None of them are wasted and none of them are forgotten. He hears the prayers you never say out loud. The prayers you think but don't know how to express. The prayers that are more like whispers than words. Even when you don't have the strength to pray the right way, God understands the cry of your heart. He understands your confusion, your fears and your hopes, even when you struggle to explain them. You may feel unseen, misunderstood, or misjudged, but you are never unknown to God. He knows your sincerity. He knows when you're trying your best, even if it doesn't look perfect. He knows the battles you fight internally, the choices you make to stay faithful, and the love you still give despite being hurt. God's understanding of you is complete, personal, and full of compassion. And that truth alone is enough to give you peace in the middle of uncertainty. Delay does not mean denial, even though it can feel that way when you've been waiting a long time. When something matters deeply to you and it hasn't happened yet, it's easy to assume God has said no or forgotten about you. But God's timing is different from ours. What feels slow to you is often intentional to Him. He sees the whole picture, while you only see the moment you're standing in. There are seasons when nothing seems to be moving, and that can be frustrating. You pray, you believe, you take steps of faith, yet nothing changes on the outside. But just because you don't see progress doesn't mean nothing is happening. God often works quietly, behind the scenes, in ways you cannot track or measure. He may be aligning people, removing distractions, strengthening your character, or protecting you from something you can't see yet. Waiting has a purpose, even when it's uncomfortable. It teaches you to trust God rather than depend only on outcomes. It stretches your faith and helps you grow deeper roots. If everything happened instantly, you wouldn't develop patience, perseverance, or spiritual maturity. God cares not only about blessing you, but about who you become in the process of receiving that blessing. Sometimes the delay is not about you being unworthy, unprepared, or doing something wrong. It's about God knowing the exact moment when that answer will bring the greatest good. If He released it too early, it could overwhelm you, distract you, or even harm you. God's delays are often acts of love, not rejection. It's important not to let waiting turn into discouragement or bitterness. When you assume delay means denial, you may stop expecting good things, stop praying with faith, or stop believing altogether. But hope keeps your heart open. Trust keeps you steady. Faith keeps you connected to God's promises, even when fulfillment hasn't arrived yet. You don't need to rush God or compare your timeline with someone else's. What God has planned for you is personal, specific, and intentional. The fact that it hasn't happened yet doesn't cancel the promise. It simply means God is still working, still preparing, and still faithful to bring it to pass at the right time. Faith activates the unexpected, even when everything around you seems uncertain. When you continue to believe in the middle of trials, when you keep trusting God despite circumstances that don't make sense, you position yourself for breakthroughs that can't be explained by human logic. Faith isn't just about hoping things will get better. It's about confidently stepping into God's promises, knowing that He is already at work behind the scenes. Faith is not passive. It requires action, action fueled by trust. It means choosing to speak words of hope when fear is whispering lies. It means keeping a generous heart when others are taking. It means smiling, praying, and serving even when you feel invisible or overlooked. These acts of faith are like planting seeds in unseen soil. You may not see immediate results, but the seeds are growing, and one day they will bear fruit in ways that surprise you. Sometimes the miracle comes not gradually, but suddenly. You may have prayed for months or even years without seeing a change. Then, in an instant, what you've been waiting for appears. The door you thought was closed swings open. The problem that seemed impossible resolves. The peace you long for floods your life. God loves to show up suddenly. He delights in proving His power, timing, and love in ways that catch you off guard and fill your heart with awe. Faith is the key that unlocks the unexpected. When you keep believing, even when it's hard, even when nothing seems to be happening, you are creating space for God to move in ways that exceed your imagination. Miracles often arrive when your faith refuses to give up, when your hope remains unshaken, and when your heart is aligned with God's purposes. Your responsibility is simple but powerful. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep living with an expectation that God can do the impossible. The sudden miracle you've been praying for is on its way, but it requires a heart that refuses to give in to fear or discouragement. Faith doesn't make the path easy, but it positions you to experience the extraordinary when God decides the time is right. Your miracle may arrive suddenly in a way that surprises you completely. Sometimes we expect blessings to come slowly, step by step, but God doesn't always work according to human schedules. He has the power to turn your situation around in an instant. What seemed impossible yesterday can become your testimony today. The key is to stay ready, stay faithful, stay prayerful, and stay hopeful, because sudden breakthroughs often come when you least expect them but need them the most. It may not come in the way you imagine. You may be praying for one thing, but God knows exactly what you need and how best to give it to you. His ways are higher than your ways, and His timing is perfect. Sometimes He gives you more than you asked for. Sometimes He gives you exactly what you need. And sometimes He removes what would have hurt you if it had arrived too early. Trusting Him means believing that the miracle will be exactly what is best for your life, even if it looks different from what you envisioned. While you wait, guard your heart. Don't let doubt, fear, or frustration take root. Stay positive and keep your thoughts aligned with God's promises. Gratitude and joy create fertile ground for God's favor to land. When you focus on what is good, when you continue to do what is right, and when you maintain hope in the midst of challenges, you are actively preparing yourself to receive the sudden miracle God has in store. And remember, God knows your heart. He knows your struggles, your dreams, and your desires. He knows your tears, your prayers, and your sacrifices. You don't have to convince Him of your worth or your need. He is already aware, and He is already working. Your faith, your persistence, and your hope are not wasted. They are the instruments through which your sudden miracle will arrive. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep moving forward with confidence because God is faithful to those who wait on Him.